into a political football, I think it's unfair. So I think it's time to deal with it. But how we deal with it is going to be critically important.
All right,
you know, it's one thing to pass a law.
Speaking about amnesty behind closed doors, he came out the other day from the retreat, the famed retreat that the Republicans have been engaging in for a few days. And joining us right now is a congressman who's actually been there behind closed doors. We're on the outside looking in. He was in there, and he's fuming. Representative John Culberson, a wonderful man, I believe an absolutely true conservative, from Texas, of course, not from California. Representative Culberson, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Michael, what a privilege to be with you, my friend, and all your listeners from coast to coast.
Now, what happened behind closed doors, John? What happened?
First thing Speaker Boehner told us is that this outline that we were handed, which went out to the press about immigration, was simply for discussion purposes. And he said, I want to make it clear, as did the other leaders, we will do nothing without a majority of the majority supporting it. So the first point, Michael, it's real important for people listening to contact their congressman, because if a majority of the Republican majority says, no way, we are not going to support amnesty, let's enforce the law, first things first, the Speaker will not allow it to come to the floor. So he was very clear, Michael. The majority of the Republicans have to support it, and I can tell you, Michael, an overwhelming majority of the Republicans that stood up and spoke, including me, said, wait a minute, we need to enforce the law. This is not complicated. Texans get it. Enforce the law, number one. And number two, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi suggested this. You think they're doing this for our benefit?
Well, but Congressman, what is the chance of the Republican Party blocking this immigration amnesty move?
We will, in the majority of the House, Republicans, Michael, oppose this idea. So in that...
Well, I know you would, and so would about 16 other Republicans, but what about the majority of the Republican Congress? Will they oppose Boehner on this?
Well, the majority of those at the retreat that stood up and spoke, and it was a long discussion and a very good discussion, overwhelming majority of the House congressmen that stood up and spoke opposed the idea of amnesty because, of course, first of all, it's a bad idea to reward people that broke the law. It's unnecessary. The country doesn't want it. The Hispanic community doesn't want it. The Hispanic community wants law and order and safe streets and good schools and a good economy and good jobs like everybody else. This isn't complicated. And the other thing is, Michael, that we in the Republican House understand that this is a power play by the Democrats. The founders created our federal government to protect our freedom, Michael, and Democrats have converted the federal government into a wealth redistribution machine to elect Democrats. And that's why they want amnesty and citizenship for people who have come here illegally from countries where the education level is lower. They're used to a centralized government that provides them everything. So the Democrats want these folks to be registered as voters so they can turn them into Democrats. That's why.
But Congressman, I agree with you. But Boehner, Majority Leader Cantor, Whip Kevin McCarthy, Representative Paul Ryan are all in favor of amnesty, according to what I read.
Well, these whatever's been said in the press, Michael, I can tell you, will not come to the floor if a majority of the Republican House members oppose it. And my impression is, from watching, listening, talking to my colleagues at this legislative retreat, which I'm on the way home from right now, is that a majority of the Republican House members strongly oppose amnesty, of course myself included, and the Texas delegation included, and therefore he will not bring it to the floor. So it's vitally important that your listeners contact their congressman and let their voices be heard, because that will be the end of this discussion of amnesty.
All right, so there is something definite that can be done. It's not hopeless. If we send so much as an email saying, do not support amnesty, that will send the message to the congressman, and the Republican side don't support it, and that will end it. That will end it from our side, but what about the Democrat side? They'll steamroll it anyway, won't they?
No, Michael. They can't pass anything in the House without a majority vote, thank goodness. And we in the House...
But Congressman, what if Obama does it by the stroke of a pen, given his inclinations to doing so? What would happen then?
Well, Michael, I've discovered a way to absolutely shut down Obama's illegal executive orders, his illegal czars, and it's through the money. The Congress controls the power of the purse. I serve on the House Appropriations Committee. It took me a little while to work this out, but I've already put language in this year's appropriations bill, and more's coming. When Obama signs an illegal executive order, I will put language in with the support of the Republican House that says unless the president or holder can show us explicitly where is your legal authority, they don't get the money. If you cut off the money, Michael, they can't do it.
You know why your appearance on my show tonight is so important? Many people are dispirited and think that there's nothing that can be done. You remind me of the character in the movie The Patriot, who, despite these great odds against the American people breaking the shackles of British oppression, there were a few who stood up to that British oppression, and it was a few men who dared to do so, and that's how America was built. And Congressman Culberson, you know, in my little house, I have something you once gave me a few years ago when you came out to visit me out here, and that is a little diorama with a little bullet from the Alamo. I remember you gave that to me. I look at it almost every day as I walk down my little hallway. I understand what your thinking is so different than most Americans. And you know what's even more amazing, Congressman Culberson? Do you know that I have no representation in the state of California? Do you know that I have to consider you, a Texan, my congressman, that I have no representative in this great state who represents a scintilla of anything I believe in?
I am proud to be Michael Savage's vicarious congressman.
That's funny. So look, this is really good. This is good what you just said.
We're on it. Listen, Michael, if you think about it for a minute, let me give you a quick story. At the FBI Academy, your folks will love this. At the FBI Academy, first day, first class, first words out of the first professor's mouth is, "Welcome to the FBI, students. Remember, if the defendant says it's not about the money, it's about the money. Because it's always about the money, because it's only about the money. So if you remember that it's always about the money, you will be a good FBI agent. Now go to class." Now, I remember that story, and that is true of Obama and Holder. Obama doesn't care about the Constitution. They don't care about committee hearings. They don't care about subpoenas. They don't care about court orders. They don't care about anything, Michael. The one thing that they care about is the money. And that's my God. I finally figured.
Well, so you're on a powerful defense appropriations subcommittee, aren't you?
Well, sir, I am in fact, on the Appropriations Committee. I chair the Military Construction and VA Subcommittee. But we, in the Appropriations Committee, we control the entire annual spending of the federal government. And that's why this Paul Ryan budget deal was so important. Even though it didn't cut as much as we want, we're guaranteed to get an appropriations bill this year. And in that bill, Michael, I will be including language that says if Eric Holder and Obama violate the law, they will not be paid. There will be no money to execute those illegal executive orders. We're going to zero out their czars. We're going to cut off the money to Eric Holder unless he enforces all the law. Not some.
Wow. You know, this interview is unique because it's activist. You're telling us there is hope. You're telling the people they have a little role to play by emailing their representatives and saying absolutely don't support amnesty, and we might just stop this thing. No one else has said that, Congressman Culberson. I want to do this. I'd like to take, with your permission, this interview and put it up as an MP3 on my website for others to grab and send around to their friends, you know, with a plan of action. Now, here's the most important question of the day. What was served for lunch at the Republican retreat?
Today it was turkey and roast beef sandwiches and potato chips. I picked up.
Well, you know, I tell you something. That's quite frugal compared to the expensive dinners that Obama has. He would never serve sandwiches, would he?
No, we're listening to Michael. The power of the purse is the secret to this guy. The most illegal, unlawful president in American history. This year, this appropriations bill, Michael, I will be leading the effort that if Obama doesn't follow the law, they don't get any money. The agency that breaks the law doesn't get paid. They have no money to execute illegal orders, executive orders, illegal czars. We just cut the money off. And let me tell you, Michael, if you stand on their air hose and cut off their money, you got 100% of their attention.
Now, you said something in the interview tonight on the show that's interesting today. You said at the FBI Academy, were you an agent? How do you know that?
Well, my dear good friend Mike Rogers, a congressman from Chicago, before he became a congressman, Michael, he told me the story because he was the special FBI agent in charge of investigating official corruption in Chicago.
Oh my God, that would be a task that would take a century.
I said, did you ever sleep? He said, no, it was like killing roaches. It was constant. And
oh, man, the land that gave us Al Capone and Barack Obama. What more could we ask for?
absolutely. He said it always led back to Dan Rostenkowski, inevitably, one way or the other. But he told me that story, Michael, and I thought about it, and I realized we got a president that could care less about public opinion, the Constitution, the law, court orders, subpoenas. They don't care. See, Obama and Holder have to be capable of feeling embarrassment in order for a committee hearing to make a difference. They're not capable of feeling embarrassment. They don't care. But one thing.
Yes, I can see that on them. They're insulated from any criticism whatsoever, which is very dangerous. They have no conscience. Representative John Culberson, is there anything you'd like to leave the Savage Nation audience with? By the way, you've just given a lot of people hope. You've given them a plan of action. They feel powerless. They feel that they have no representation anywhere in America anymore. But you just told them that they do. What is it that they can do?
Michael, the one thing that Obama cannot make a Republican congressman do is give him money. Remember, the power of the purse lies in the House, and the House is controlled by conservative Republicans. We have a Republican majority, and a majority of that majority is very conservative, committed to the Constitution, committed to free markets, get the government out of our lives and leave us the heck alone. So contact, first of all, your congressman. Let them know how you feel about amnesty for illegal aliens. Just enforce the law. This is not complicated. Not a problem. Number two, Michael, encourage your congressman to cut off the money for Obama's illegal executive orders and to zero out his czars. We will stop Obama cold from dismantling the America we know and love by cutting off his money. If you break the law, you will not be paid. Works every...
It's as simple as that. Now, before you leave us, Congressman, I know you have a lot to do. I've been talking for an hour and a half about Obama firing the Air Force officers who were in charge of our nuclear launch systems. There's been a purge going on in the military. We would implore you to please spread the word in Congress about this purge of the military at the officer level. Congressman Culberson, I know you're one man and there's only so much anyone can do, especially when you have a group without a conscience taking a wrecking ball to every institution in this country, and all we can say is thank God that you're there.
Michael, thank you. Remember, it's always one man with a great idea and indomitable determination can turn things around. And, Michael, we will never, I know you'll never give up on America. I will never give up on America nor Texas, and we've survived worse than Barack Obama. And now that I know how to cut off his money to stop him from destroying this nation, I've already begun that effort. I did it in this year's bill, and we're going to do more next time. But everyone should be hopeful, optimistic. Contact your congressman, and I guarantee we can preserve and protect the America we know and love.
Amazing. Representative John Culberson, thanks very much for being with us on the Savage Nation. Well, you heard it from the horse's mouth. He's just come from that closed, everyone in the media is talking about it and belly aching about it, saying there's nothing we can do. You just heard the opposite. You heard it first on the Savage Nation. It's that simple.